this out. So we got 3 episodes under our belt tonight. Start with Roadkill.
Great episode. Like,
really good.
I remember the first time watching it with the big reveal that the girl that they met was actually a ghost. And
Molly.
yeah, just, oh man, you know, like you said, you know, for the first time we watched it, you know, they killed the torturing ghost, Greeley or whatever his name was.
Greeley, yeah.
But it was still like 9 minutes left in the episode. We're like, what? There's so much time left.
What's left to do?
Yeah. And then the reveal that, you know, those 2 spirits come back on the anniversary of their deaths and just kind of go through that whole thing, and she doesn't remember. Like, it was just so good.
So beautifully set up, because... Yeah. And it turned out Sam and Dean knew the whole time, and I had forgotten that part.
Oh, okay. I didn't, but...
I remember the first time we watched it, I think you had caught it just before the reveal. You're like, I think you just kind of went, oh. And me and my dumbass state was like, what? What's going on? So, but yeah, and they did the whole playthrough of all the scenes where they kind of alluded to it. And I don't know if they need to do that, because when the reveal happens, your brain does that, automatically, and you go, oh.
Yeah.
Oh. Like, there was all these little asides that Sam and Dean had, and all these kind of looks that they had given each other where it all made sense.
You know, well, what's your name? Molly McNamara, and...
Yeah.
And...
All right, come on, Jennifer Love Hewitt.
J-Love.
He likes to play J-Love, reference to Ghost Whisperer, because he's sitting there talking to her.
Yeah. And even though I knew, like, starting the episode, obviously I already knew what the big reveal was, it was still just, it's so well done that it's worth another... It's kind of... And I think we mentioned this about, when we were talking about, like, what scary movies should we watch? And we had talked about, Sixth Sense, and it's like, well, but is it as good if you already know the reveal, so why bother going back to watch it?
But it's for reasons like that,
yeah,
where you can go back and appreciate all the clues that were laid.
Yeah.
M. Night Shyamalan, what happened to you, man? But yeah, it was a very, very similar story. They probably pulled from it.
The last dialogue between Sam and Dean, he's like, all right, come on, Haley Joel Osment.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
I think I've only ever seen Sixth Sense one time.
Yeah.
But
because of that reason.
But because of that reason, it's definitely a movie that would be worth revisiting.
Next Halloween season.
Yeah, I think we should.
We'll try to remember the reasons why we should.
We'll totally remember.
Yeah. So yeah, good episode. I mean, it's a season 2 episode, but it kind of it helps establish the show as being more than just like a one-off season sort of thing. You know, the subterfuge, the
good word,
right? Subverting expectations.
Sure.
It had some solid writing, and admittedly, it's gone off the rails a bit.
Sure.
I think that it is time for the show to come to its end, but I really think that the finale is going to be something special.
I certainly
hope it
so.
is.
Yeah.
Hope.
Yeah, it's one of those early season gems where it's nice to go back and rewatch some of those because when they were still doing their Monster of the Week, Story of the Week thing,
a la Buffy.
A la Buffy. Again, early season Buffy. Because,
right.
You know, every episode of Supernatural now in the later seasons, they're still good, but every episode has some reference to the current big bad, the current theme of the season. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's nice to have one-off episodes that are purely one-off. You can watch them at any time, and they still work. They still apply.
Remind me, so Supernatural started in 2005.
Yeah. When I was very much still in college. So
Buffy ended in
02 or 03.
Okay. But Angel was still going on at this time.
At this time, no.
No, okay.
Angel ended one season after Buffy did.
Oh, okay. But still, it's very close.
Very, very close, yeah.
Okay. And it doesn't really matter, but...
No, it's the season 2 episode, so that would have been 2006. So, clearly, I mean, very obviously influenced by Buffy.
Right. Well, in the Roadkill episode, he said it was 2007.
Oh, okay.
And she died in 92.
Okay, yeah.
So it started in 2005. But this was an early season 2 episode. Doesn't matter. So yeah, there was that whole... The ghosts, the spirits coming back on the anniversary of their deaths. You know,
Luke.
I don't know if he realized it. I think he did. Because he specifically, like, he had the whole horror thing and he would torture her. So I think he was aware.
Greeley, you're talking about?
Yeah, Greeley. And he was aware.
Yeah, because
of
he was
the
like,
situation.
he basically said, this is the only pleasure I get.
But she obviously wasn't aware that there were ghosts. I think he was, but she wasn't.
Yeah, and maybe it's because they were tied to the world for different reasons. He was tied by revenge, and that allowed him to have more knowledge of who she was and what was going on.
Yeah. But, it was such a good episode, and then we decided that we were going to try to find a episode to watch. And, ghosts. Okay, let's do Ghostfacers, which was what we thought was the introduction of the Ghost Hunter duo, but we were wrong, and it ended up being
the second
one with them. And they were trying to get their show out or whatever.
Which is a bummer, because we were looking for that,
WWBD.
What would Buffy do? Yeah. The first one's good from what I remember, but
I think it was because of, like, that line, you know?
Yeah, but I'm glad we landed on this episode.
Yes, because they circled back to the echo, the death echoes, and they put a name to what Molly and Greeley were death echoes.
Yeah.
They're ghosts, but they don't realize it. Or she didn't, anyway.
Yeah, she didn't. And it wasn't a perfect recreation, probably because Sam and Dean interfered. Because they weren't unaware of their surroundings. You know, the echoes and Ghostfacers were just like a TV show playing. Like they were just reliving the moment. The moment, regardless of what was going on around them. Molly was aware of the people around them. In fact, she was part of the reason why people crashed and died on that street. But she was still reliving these moments over and over, and didn't realize. It didn't realize. So it was a reference. It was, and I think when they talked about the death echoes, but they were stuck in a loop. I think they were specifically referring to Roadkill.
I don't remember if it comes up again between Roadkill and Ghostfacers. I just don't, because there's so many episodes.
They faced a lot of ghosts around that time. There's a lot of rock salt shotgunning and bone burning in the first, 3-4 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, I don't know if they mentioned that specifically,
right.
the loops.
So something interesting that I just thought of from the Ghostfacers episode is they realized that the ghost that haunts the house that they're in, the Morton house, because they saw a couple of death echoes, the gangster shootout and the guy who was hit by a train, and they're like, why are we seeing this? It didn't happen here. They never lived in this house. But then they found the toe tags that the guy took. Taxidermy, just lonely guy. It's really weird.
Don't let people with PTSD work in a morgue.
Yeah. There was a third one. Suicide. Never saw that. Never saw that echo.
What, they mentioned that one of the people were killed?
Yeah, because when they found the death tags, they were like, shot, hit by a train, suicide. It was very interesting. Because when you think back to Roadkill, they found the hanging body of Greeley's wife. She clearly committed suicide because she couldn't live without her husband anymore.
Right.
But they didn't show a death echo of a suicide victim.
So maybe, well, okay, no, that actually kind of makes sense. For the same reason for both characters, because death echoes have something that ties them to the world. If you're committing suicide, you have zero ties to the world.
It does make sense. Because I was wondering why we didn't see the suicide, and I was thinking maybe they just didn't.
May not have been picked up on camera, but we just heard shouting in the neighborhood, so. It doesn't sound distressed. I don't know what it sounds like. It's very loud, though.
Weird things have been happening around here tonight, and I don't like it.
We're not really in a riot hotspot, because it's, the election is about 36 hours old, and it's still going on, whatever. I know there's riots going on, but this isn't really a riot hotspot, so I don't know.
There are riots going on?
Starting to, yeah.
Why?
Who knows?
There's no outcome yet.
Well, counties are having outcomes. Counties are being called as one or the other.
Anyway. But yeah, I thought, maybe they just didn't want to show on TV a suicide. Which I know TV shows have done.
Right.
So it was kind of a weak thing, but no, I think you are absolutely there.
It makes sense with what they said about the death echoes.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. I kind of like the continuity. I mean,
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. But yeah. Ghostfacers, silly episode, but
For sure.
Still real intense.
You kind of forget about Corbett.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, oh, shit.
Yeah. I mean, I remember, going into the episode, I remembered someone dying.
Same.
But watching it again, it was still just kind of like, oh my gosh.
Like, they had a connection with this guy, and, they were trying to do this fun show thing, and, oh my gosh, one of your crew just died a horrible death.
Yeah.
And they're like mourning him and stuff.
And also, send him into the light.
You need to use gay love to save our friend. It's so fantastic.
Yeah.
Send him into the light.
But, no, yeah, that was a very solid episode. And I did kind of want to go back and rewatch the one where they did actually meet
Those guys.
In the first episode that they were in. It was they were the Hellhounds. And, you know, the whole WWBD thing. But I'm really happy with how it turned out, because it was just such a good tie-in to the one that we had just watched.
Right.
And the only reason why we picked it was because it was Ghostfacers. I'm like, okay, well, we just watched one about ghosts, so let's watch another one about ghosts. And I completely forgot about the Death Echo thing.
Yeah.
So that was really cool.
And this is the episode I was thinking of with the haunted house and everything, but I thought that was when they first met him.
Yeah. But then when we saw the then
right
thing, I was like, oh, no, wait, no, they didn't meet them then.
So we should probably add that to the list, though. I wouldn't mind going back and watching it. But...
And same with the one with when we first got introduced to Becky, and the one where Becky love potioned Sam.
Although that comes later, I think.
Oh, yeah, much later.
Yeah, so we've only looked at the episodes for season 4 as far as what we want to rewatch, but...
Yeah. Also, I really appreciate that they did bring her back for the last season.
That's right.
We don't... So, like, Chuck...
Snapped her away.
Like, so fine. I think she's probably... I think she and probably a lot of characters throughout the season are going to show up. I mean, we already saw Kevin.
Do you think she's going to show up again?
Well, it's a dangling thread. Like, what happened to her? Where'd she go?
I don't know. I think if you revisit old characters in the last season, I feel like that's probably the end of them, their swan song. I mean,
So maybe not. No, because with Kevin, there was finality there.
Because he was a ghost and he walked off, right? And he was just like...
But Becky, we don't know what happened to her.
True, he just said he snapped her somewhere else. He's like, she's fine, she's just not here right now.
Yeah, but... I mean, I would love to see, like in the last episode, Molly.
Sure.
You know, like, all of these people and ghosts and whatever that they helped throughout the years.
It would be nice.
Kind of like the Rise of Skywalker when, you know, Rey, you know, is trying to connect with other Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
She heard all the voices. Like, I'm hoping for something like that. Not knowing if Sam and Dean are gonna die or whatever, but I'm hoping for, like, all of that. I'm hoping for Mary and John.
Yeah. And was John's reappearance this season, or was it last season?
It was season 15, but it was the 300th episode. It was like... It was right before they had to shut down production that episode aired. So it's like February, maybe early March.
It'd be nice, but it's the fact that these characters are showing up throughout season 5 that makes me think we won't see them for the ending.
No, wait. No, I think it was season 14.
Oh, really?
Because Mary was still there. And she died at the end of season 14.
Right. You're right.
So I was wrong. But,
Okay.
yeah.
So, anyway, yeah. It'd be nice, because just, John was such a big part of the
And Mary,
show.
too.
Mary, too. Mary had way more screen time than John, but John was a big storyline thing.
Jessica.
Sam's girlfriend?
From the first season. They gotta bring her back.
And they did at one point, right?
Yeah, but for the finale.
For the finale. No, I hear you.
Yeah, like...
Everything that led them to where they are now. I'd love to see Ellen and Joe again.
Yes.
Obviously, Bobby.
Yeah. Garth is still alive.
I think Garth's still alive. They gotta wrap that up.
Yeah. Jody and...
Yeah.
Who's the Minnesota sheriff? I can't remember her name.
Don't remember. But her.
Oh.
Well, yeah. Jody's girl that she was looking after.
The daughter of Castiel's host.
Yeah. Is she still around?
Yeah. And apparently she was with... She had a thing with that other girl. I can't remember her name.
The girl from the other universe
Yeah.
at the staff.
The Dreamwalker.
Yeah.
Which, that still weirds me out because... Not even, lesbian relationship, whatever. No, it was... I never felt like they set up... And maybe I just don't remember it correctly because of, booze or whatever. But I was really shocked when, when there was this implication that they were in love with each other. Like, really? Yeah.
What?
What?
When did...
How? What? When? Why? I feel like it was kind of shoehorned in or something. Like, I don't remember that being a thing. But, anyway, Ghostfacers. Another solid episode. I mean, with, Roadkill and Ghostfacers, like, the jump scares, so good.
Really good. Really, really good.
And this is why the show is so good, because their episodes had a lot of balance. Roadkill and Ghostfacers were really heavy on the jump scares. And then the last one we watched tonight, Bad Day at Black Rock, there weren't any jump scares.
No, it wasn't.
There was no tension insofar as, like, what's going to jump out. It was just a fun and funny episode.
When you've got good actors and good writing, you can jump genre.
Yeah.
And Supernatural does that.
Yeah.
It switches genre between probably 3 different: horror, drama, and comedy.
Yeah. And, unfortunately, the past few, like, several seasons, really, you didn't get those heart-pumping sort of jump scare type episodes. I can't remember the last one. Like, the last, like, most recent one that I watched where I had that jump scare sort of feel. Nope. Take that back. A couple weeks ago, the Baba Yaga episode.
Right.
That was a good jump scare one.
Baba Yaga! Yeah, and that was the episode where we said this is a nice return to form, with the Monster of the Week kind of a... Yeah, they referenced the overall plot of the season, but it was purely a Monster of the Week episode.
Yeah, well, and all of it, like, the Ghostfacers, that was the season when Dean had only a year before he was going to be dragged off to hell.
Yeah.
So, and Sam yells at Dean, got 2 months to live.
Right.
And then, but earlier in this season was Bad Day at Black Rock, and in the scene with Bella, Dean and Bella,
Lugosi.
That comes up again.
Yeah. So they throw in these little references to the overall theme, but it doesn't drive much of the episode.
Right.
They just remind you, yeah, this is still in continuity. We know what's up. We're doing a thing right now.
Mm-hmm.
Which is nice. It's always nice. You don't want the season to get too heavy-handed and too overbearing with the plot of each episode.
Right.
But you want the audience to know, I mean, yeah, we know. The plot's still on. We're just taking aside you right now.
But yeah, Bad Day at Black Rock is a good way to end the night because there isn't that gut-wrenching, I'm waiting for the jump scare sort of thing. It's got the supernatural, roll credits, aspect. But it's funny. And Supernatural has always done a really good job of sprinkling in these levity episodes.
Yep.
You're like, oh, okay, because you like the intense ones. You like the plot, the really heavy plot driven ones. You like the
well thought out storyline continuation and the
even if
you
it's
want
kind
the
of
season.
filling.
This season's a chapter book, right? And you want to progress in the story, but you also need a break sometimes.
Yeah, and the levity episodes, like, I live for those.
I do, yeah.
Like, when an episode starts and you're like, oh, okay.
It's one of those.
It's going to be a levity episode.
Sweet.
Yes.
Yeah, you can call it pretty quickly.
Yeah, and they're great because you're like, because they're so well done, and you don't feel like you're, I mean, yeah, you want the plot to progress, but at the same time, they're just, and they do a great job of also, I mean, think about The French Mistake, and Changing Channels. They were funny episodes, but they did move the plot along.
They did. They worked that in. But man, it's like, when you have a show, you have to have a plot that's moving forward and progressing. But we've seen it time and time again, especially with like New Girl and stuff like that, where writers can write themselves into a corner. And they start to go, okay, we have to deal with this storyline. How do we make this work? You know, they get a little trapped. But episodes like that, those levity episodes, the writers are allowed to just take these characters if great and let them bounce off each other. Mm-hmm. You can just watch the characters interact. And that's why people watch TV shows. They like seeing characters with chemistry just interacting with each other and just doing whatever. So it's really, really nice when you can put the plot aside, because that's when the writers are at their peak.
Yeah.
When they're trying to make everything work. They're working hard, and they do a good job, but you can tell they're working hard. They're not just letting the characters interact.
Right.
Storyline is what leads to, oh, Sam and Dean are mad at each other for some fucking reason.
Right.
And it's really frustrating. It's not bad storytelling, but it's exhausting to watch.
But that's life, too.
In a way. I mean, if somebody were to record our lives, first of all, they'd be really bored because we spend a lot of time watching TV. But, you know, we don't have a lot of drama interjected into our interactions. You know? We just react to things.
And any drama that we do have, it's like silent treatment, and then we talk it out, and then it's fine.
Yeah. Silent treatment, then we get bored with silent treatment, and then we're like, all right, let's address this. All right. Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah, I know. You're sorry too. Okay, cool. It's not that interesting. It's not a TV show.
Which I'm grateful for.
Which I'm grateful for, because, let's face it, real life siblings that have had the interactions that Sam and Dean have, I don't think that would go the way it does in the show. That shit gets exhausting.
Yeah.
You can't constantly be at odds with one another.
Right.
But again, that's why the levity episodes are so good, because you get to see them just be brothers. And you are reminded why they do spend all their time together. Because at the end of the day, in between episodes, in between shots, they're just a couple of brothers hanging out. And it's almost like the levity episodes are those scenes that are between shots. Between... Is that human? No, it's not. I don't know if the camera picked that up, but I've never heard a sound like that in my life. I think it was a pack of coyotes, but what made them suddenly start and what made them suddenly stop?
This night is getting weird.
Yeah. I could have done without that in my life. Anyway, right.
I lost my shit.
I lost my shoe. Yeah, those are the scenes, it's like, those are the scenes that don't get filmed in TV shows. Like, everybody has those moments, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where just, like, random shit happens, you're just like, I don't want to be me right now.
Well, and Dean's reaction to that was just like, little brother.
Well, Dean's reaction to it was...
Oh.
What?
The coyotes are up there. Maybe they saw the headlights. Started freaking out.
I don't follow.
We heard all that coyote nonsense. Maybe coyote saw headlights, started freaking out, and all the other coyotes started freaking out because it was up there that I saw a coyote cross the road when I was running like a week ago or so.
Interesting. Ah, good. So they're behind me.
Yep.
Cool.
Yep.
No, but Dean's reaction to Sam just like falling over all over himself. It was a lot like my reactions to Hannah.
Bless her soul.
That poor girl who just falls over randomly. Like, yeah, it's that kind of thing where it doesn't make it into the show, but then they have these episodes where they're like, no, let's just throw in these random interactions. So yeah, it's fun.
It's like a blooper reel.
Yeah, it is like a blooper reel.
But yeah, good show.
Good show, good times.
Don't want to see it end. Ready for it to end. Ready to see the final conclusion. I'll miss it, but it's time.
Right.
It is also time for bed.
Right.
It's Wednesday. Well, now it's Thursday, but...
Hey, it's almost Friday.
Let's get through this week, and get through next week, and hopefully our...
Tests come back negative.
Yeah.
Yeah. weird week. It's going to be weird next week. I want it over. Okay, anyway.
I mean, Isaac has been great with his naps.
I think we're done here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.